Hello and good evening. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching News at 10 with me, Shuhaida Arifin. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has stressed that the country needs to pay serious attention to the impact of a rising global temperature of above 1.1 degrees Celsius, which results in dry season and frequency of floods. He said that the matter was emphasized at the third meeting of the National Water Council MAN 2021, which he chaired virtually today and was also attended by federal ministers, chief ministers and Menteri Besar, Chief Secretary to the Government, Secretary General of the Treasury, as well as heads of the relevant departments and agency. The Prime Minister in a statement today said the meeting recommended that actions that take into account factors on the impact of climate change should be implemented immediately in development planning to avoid increased property damage and loss of life. Apart from that, he said, the meeting also emphasized the water sector's transformation agenda carried out under the 12 Malaysia Plan 12 MP to 15 MP that would make the water sector an economic enabler and a generator of dynamic growth by 2040. Malaysia is looking forward to exploring cooperation with the United States, US in its plan to introduce a utility-scale battery energy storage system, BESS, into the Peninsular electricity system. Energy and Natural Resources Minister Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan said, as the solar system becomes increasingly significant in the nation's power system, the intermittency related to these variable energy resources has to be addressed to ensure reliability of supply.
As solar increasingly significant in our power system, the intermittency related to this variable energy resource has to be addressed to ensure reliability of supply. Hence, we plan to introduce utility-scale battery energy storage system, BESS, with a total capacity of 500 megawatt from 2030 to 2034 into our peninsular electricity system.
He said this in his remark at the US-Malaysia Renewable Energy Roundtable with US Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken in Kuala Lumpur today. According to Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin, the ministry was undertaking a study through MyPower, a company under the ministry with the task of future-proofing the electricity supply industry. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has urged all members of Parliament MPs to support the bill to amend the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, Act 342, as the amendments could strengthen the government's arsenal in the fight against COVID-19. Khairi said he had briefed MPs on Monday regarding the guidelines and conditions which needed to be fulfilled before the proposed enhanced penalties could be meted out for violation of COVID-19 Prevention Standard Operating Procedures, SOP. He said the guidelines would protect the people from being slapped with unjust compounds for violating the SOP. Speaking today, he said the existing law was not effective in curbing the spread of COVID-19 because even factories which contributed to clusters could be fined a maximum of 1,000 ringgit only, although their revenue might run into billions.
Dan garis-garis panduan ini melindungi daripada berlaku apa-apa kompaun yang terlalu zalim terhadap rakyat. Takkanlah kita nak bagi kompaun RM10,000 kalau tak pakai betul-betul. Ya, itu adalah maksimum.
Khairi also rejected opposition claims that the proposed amendments were punitive in nature. The bill tabled for first reading in the Dewan Rakyat yesterday proposed a maximum 1 million fine on companies and organizations and up to 10,000 on individuals who flout the SOP. The Labuan International Business and Financial Centre, Labuan IBFC, can become a platform to expand Malaysia's capabilities in digital Islamic finance, and the government is prepared to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to realise the goal, said Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tunku Abdul Aziz. He said the government is ready to broaden the digital Islamic finance as an alternative to conventional financial technology fintech, especially as the economy begins to recover and gain momentum in 2022.
Taking advantage of Malaysia's thriving dual financial system, my aspiration is for Labuan IBFC to provide not only conventional offerings, but also a full suite of Sharia-compliant products and structures to meet the demands and preferences of global investors.
He said this in his opening remarks at the commemorative coin launching in conjunction with the 25th anniversary of Labuan Financial Services Authority, Labuan FSA, an integrated regulator of the Labuan IBFC under the Ministry of Finance MOF. The commemorative coin will be issued in limited quantity from February 2022. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul also emphasised that Labuan's next chapter must be conceived on sustainability, relevance and market certainty, and it must be enabled by digital technology fueled by innovation. Coming up next, witness says Lim Guan Eng earned over 40,000 ringgit monthly during his time as Chief Minister. The Sessions Court was told today that Lim Guan Eng received a salary and allowance amounting to 44,375 ringgit as Penang Chief Minister from March 2008 to May 2018. Former Principal Senior Assistant Secretary of the State Legislative Assembly at the Penang State Secretary's Office, Muhammad Farulizam Cik Meh, 43, said when Lim held the post between 11 March 2008 and 14 May 2018, he received a monthly basic salary of 40,175 ringgit and an allowance of 30,200 ringgit. He added that Lim Guan Eng had also declared his assets and side income on the Penang web portal. The 20th prosecution witness said this at the trial of Lim's corruption case, where he is facing 4 charges involving the construction of the Penang undersea tunnel project worth 6.3 billion ringgit. Lim was Air Putih State Assemblyman, which he won on DAP ticket for 3 terms and was Chief Minister for 2 terms. The trial had proceeded for 2 days since Monday without Lim Guan Eng's presence, as he was admitted to IJN last Sunday to undergo medical procedure. Digital Nasional Berhad DNB is committed to an accelerated schedule to roll out 5G coverage to 80% of the population nationwide by 2024. DNB Chief Executive Officer CEO Raf Marshall said Telekom Malaysia Berhad TM on behalf of Unify Mobile and YTL Communications Sdn Berhad on behalf of YES will be the first 2 operators in the country to provide 5G access to their respective customers within the coverage areas. Together, he said both providers have almost 4.5 million subscribers and average monthly data demand of 40 to 50 GB per subscriber.
Soon, all Malaysians will enjoy the power of 5G as the network is rolled out in most parts of Malaysia over the next 3 years, when we expect 5G to be available in 80% of the populated areas of the country.
He said this at the announcement of commercial availability of 5G services today. YTL Communications Sdn Berhad CEO Win K. Lee said the availability of 5G supported by DNB's robust ecosystem will accelerate nationwide coverage and adoption of 5G. DNB said TM and YTL Communications are the first 2 companies to take advantage of DNB's offer of free wholesale 5G services to all mobile network operators MNOs that are integrated into the DNB network. The bodies of 11 Indonesian nationals have been found along the Tanjung Balau beach near Kota Tinggi after the boat they were on capsized due to high waves during bad weather early this morning. Another 14 other illegal immigrants on the boat were saved, with 25 more still missing. Search and rescue, meanwhile, has been suspended at 7 p.m. today and will resume at 7 a.m. tomorrow. The incident was reported around 4:30 a.m. and the boat was found in an overturned position and buffeted by waves around 20 meters from the beach. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency (MMEA) said 7 men and 4 women were found drowned. The boat were reportedly carrying 50 illegal immigrants from Lumpur, Indonesia. The survivors were found at the beach and taken to the Tanjung Sepang Malaysian Armed Forces post in Kota Tinggi. The boat passengers' personal effects, including wallets, photos, clothes and bags, were found strewn along Tanjung Balau beach. Johor Maritime Operations Deputy Director Captain Maritime Simon Templer Lotusa said search and rescue operations will likely take around 4 to 10 days depending on prevailing conditions.
Belum lagi dimulakan disebabkan keadaan mangsa yang masih trauma, so kita tidak nak memberi tekanan mental kepada mangsa. Tetapi based on yang previous punya case, kalau yang bertolak dari Batam ke sini, makanya saya difahamkan untuk satu kepala yang saya dimaklumkan lebih kurang 2,000 ke 3,000 ringgit Malaysia satu kepala, sama ada pergi ataupun hendak balik.
He said this when met by reporters at the location of the incident. United States Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken today commended Malaysia's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and was also appreciative of Malaysia's contribution of vaccines to COVAX, a worldwide vaccine sharing initiative. Blinken said because of Malaysia's remarkable leadership and success, it even had the capacity to distribute excess vaccines to other countries and even to COVAX. In a joint press conference with Malaysian Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Secretary Blinken said what Malaysia had done was deeply appreciated, which showed evidence of a real leadership. He said during the bilateral meeting with Datuk Saifuddin earlier, both had touched on what can be done together to overcome the current challenge of COVID-19 and build back better for the next pandemic.
Not only what we need to do to overcome the current pandemic, but also what we need to do to build back better and have a stronger global health system so that we can better confront future pandemics.
Blinken arrived in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday night for a 2-day working visit. He had earlier stopped in Jakarta, Indonesia, and will continue with his itinerary to Bangkok, Thailand. He said the US is also working hard on making good its commitment to provide again through COVAX so that these vaccines will be equitably distributed. By through 2022, the US expects to donate 1.2 billion vaccines around the world without strings attached to show a commitment to see what can be done to close the gaps in terms of vaccinations. National men's doubles pair Ong Yu Sin and Teo Ee Yi were made to toil before advancing to the third round of the World Badminton Championships in Huelva, Spain yesterday. They beat Joel Ape and Rasmus Kjær of Denmark 21-12, 21-19. Alright, so that concludes today's news at 10. In our top story, serious attention needed to overcome impact of rising global temperature. Don't forget to tune in to updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon, available on TV2 and Saluran Berita RTM. You can also watch it online on RTM Click's website and mobile app. I'm Shahidah Arifin. Thank you for watching and have a good night.